you guys for having me.
Thanks for being here. All right, Donovan, currently in a tight race for a playoff spot in the West, but everyone's trying to avoid the two heavyweights, Rockets, Warriors in the first round. Which team would you rather face? Because you've already beaten the Dubs twice.
I think the biggest thing, you know, they're both tough teams. You know, one's more of a screening action kind of three-point threat, and then the other one's an isolation three-point threat. But for me personally, I'm close to Chris Paul, so I'd love to get in a playoff matchup with him and go head-to-head with him. That would be pretty exciting for me.
I like
Donovan, you're obviously an internally motivated guy, the way you attack on offense. But I'm wondering how much of your draft position, as many guys, 12 guys taken before you, have you used as motivation this season where you've been, you know, Simmons was drafted last year, so you've been the best rookie in this draft class?
I don't really use that too much, to be honest. You know, if you've heard my story, you know, I didn't know if I was going to get drafted in the first round until about 2 weeks before the draft. You know, that's how unsure I was. But I think the biggest thing with me is I've just been focused on learning and getting better game by game. And with that mindset, I think it's helped me get to where I'm at today. But I don't really say, oh, 12 guys went ahead of me, I'm going to try and go and kill every single one of them. I just focus on the task at hand. And fortunately, I've had success against the teams that I guess didn't pick me. But just having fun and just taking it game by game.
Well, you may not pay attention to that, D. Mitch, but I know you're paying attention to Rookie of the Year. I don't care what you say, and you should, because as far as I'm concerned, you deserve it. Having said all of that, there's a superstar in the making as a rookie in Ben Simmons in Philadelphia right now. A lot of people thinking about him. They're thinking about you. Do you believe you deserve to be the Rookie of the Year, and why or why not feel that way?
You know, Stephen A., to be honest, this wasn't like I'm a person that keeps things consistent. You know, this wasn't a thought in October. You know, so why now that we're going into the playoffs should it be a thought for me right now? And you know, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, Ben's obviously a talented player. You know, the amount of triple doubles he's got in the season is incredible. But you know, the big thing with me is I'm just trying to see if we can push to the top 4 in the West. You know, I think that'd be a bigger accomplishment for myself because I'm a selfless guy. I look at this award and I say, you know what, if I win the finals, I'm not going to be worried about, you know, did I win Rookie of the Year 4 or 5 years ago? You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. And, you know, you look at guys who have won the league, who won championships, they weren't really worried about, you know, this particular award. You know, I want to be hopefully the best in the NBA, not just the best of one particular class.
Donovan, I want to talk Louisville for a second, Pitino, but first Lamar Jackson, because obviously you went there and he's taken a lot of heat because he has his mom representing him and people are saying he should play a different position. Tell us why he's the real deal.
Well, you know, the one thing I tell people is that we had my freshman year before he became Lamar Jackson, we had dunk contests. You know, we would throw the ball off the wall and kind of go back and forth, and he's really athletic, but you know, his improvement from freshman year to sophomore year is incredible. You know, freshman year he had some ill-advised throws. Would just throw the ball, see if he can kind of find somebody. This year I feel like he's more poised and more locked in, and he knows the playbook much better too. You know, and I think that's one thing that he's definitely improved on. And he just has so many different skills that we haven't seen in a while. So I think that's why he's going to be one of the best in this draft.
Donovan, whose game growing up did you most pattern your game after?
It's easy to say LeBron. I think that'd be the first person, but obviously I didn't grow up to be 6'8", 260, so I liked Russell Westbrook as well. You know, just his passion and his drive every game. For 82 games is very impressive, even in the playoffs. So, but he's one guy that I've kind of said, you know, the pull-up jump shot is something I got to continue to work on. And I watch a lot of his film, you know, just his way he attacks the basket. And, you know, since I've gotten the league, Damian Lillard and Dwayne Wade have been the two guys I've watched the most.
Real quick, because I know Molly's got a follow-up question about Pitino, but I got to ask you this. Being in the Western Conference, do you think that – are you one of those guys that look at the Western Conference and feel like it's just a tougher conference to be in, and whatever you accomplish in the West it should be counted more significantly than what you do in the Eastern Conference because of so many times we debate the disparity between the two conferences?
In my opinion, I think the Western Conference is really tough. You know, it is a tougher conference in my opinion. You know, you look at the race that we have now. I think They're 2 games separated in the 4th and the 10th seed, and that just shows every team is competing for that spot. We have so many guys who didn't make the All-Star team in the West that would have been All-Stars maybe in the East. Not to say the East isn't a good conference. There's a lot of talented guys, but the Western Conference is crazy. And every night, there are weeks where I guard, a week straight where I guarded Westbrook, Dame Lillard, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jimmy Butler all in the same week. And that's tough.
Wild, Wild West, no joke there. But I want to get back to Pitino. Obviously, you played under him. They were stripped of that 2014 national title. What was your reaction to that news?
It hurt. A lot of the guys on that team came back and practiced with us and, kind of mentored us when I was there. And to see that championship go, I think it was very tough. But from a national standpoint, I think as a community in Louisville, they definitely won't forget what happened in Georgia. That's their pride and joy. They definitely won't forget it. They still have the rings. You guys saw Kevin Ware. He posted that. He still has his ring. I think the biggest thing is that with Coach Mack now coming in, we're excited and we're excited for moving forward. But it was definitely a tough situation, and hopefully this year we'll bounce back and be back to the program that we were.
Donovan, we were talking the other day about teams getting to South Beach too early, young men in South Beach, and then it seems like they have no legs the next day when they play. And I brought up Utah as the opposite example, right? Like, guys in Utah, what are you going to do? It's actually a good place for a young player to develop.
Yep.
Tell me what's good and what's bad about playing in Utah.
I would say the first thing, being from New York, it's a smaller city compared to New York, obviously. And as a young guy in this league, I think it's helped me so much. It allows me, not to kind of be out. I go to the games in Utah or BYU games, and I have fun, and I love it. I love it here, and it's a great place to play. But, it allows me just to stay calm and stay relaxed, because this season can be stressful. And guys in this league have turned to different things. I turn to Netflix.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So.
Hey, Donovan, will you please tell Stephen A. Smith about Coach Mackey real quick?
Coach Mackey, he's a great coach. He was my guy back in AAU.
Yo, D. Mitch, I have no problem with Coach Mackey. I'm quite sure he's a marvelous coach. I just have never heard a human being in my life mentioned more by another human being as much as Max mentions him. That's all it is. Proud of you, bro.
Coach Mackey's a
Keep
good
it
guy.
up.
Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Netflix and chill never gets you in trouble. Donovan, appreciate you. Been a lot of fun to watch.
Definitely, thank you.
All right. Giancarlo Stanton got plenty of high fives in his Yankees debut, but got the low five last night in the Bronx. We'll explain coming up a little later in the show. And his Villanova hero, Dante DiVincenzo, deserved criticism over his Twitter account immediately after winning the national title game. Don't miss how Stephen A. feels about that subject. Coming up next, we'll break it down for you.
This is what I feel like when I